Hey, what's going on, guys? John Cochran, the King of Systems here. And what I'm going to do for you guys today is I'm going to share with you guys a really awesome, a kick-ass strategy that we're doing with pre-foreclosure leads. Now, the thing of it is that, you know, it was probably about, I don't know, this is about 3, 4, 5 months ago inside of our real estate business right here in Dayton, Ohio. And we started running into a lot of leads that were in pre-foreclosure, okay? And this was odd because obviously we knew that the market was going to be changing and all this other stuff, but we started running into these leads all of the time, people coming out of the woodwork of these pre-foreclosure leads. So what we did was we were like, all right, so something's changing into the marketplace. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to ask other people if they're really running into a lot of these pre-foreclosure leads. Same exact thing. A lot of other people were running into pre-foreclosure leads all of the time, and they're like, oh my gosh, what in the world do I do with these things? So what we did in our business, because we knew the market was changing, we started running into so many more of these pre-foreclosure leads, is we started targeting these leads. Now watch this. So we right now are working 613 pre-foreclosure leads, and we exactly have brought in 81 calls over the past about 20 days, and we have got one contract within the past 20 days using this method that I'm going to share with you. Now, we have a lot of other contracts that are into the mix with this strategy, but I want to share with you, I want to show you just some general deals, general numbers of deals from these pre-foreclosure leads that we're running into, because you are going to want to structure your deals just like this with these leads. So here's what we're running into very often. Here's what we're running into. We're running into a lot of pre-foreclosure leads that have an ARV somewhere around the 150 mark. They've got a mortgage right around $95,000. They're behind about $10,000, in payments on this with fees and everything else. And they're needing about $20,000 in repairs. So when you're all coming down into this, if you could buy this thing, if you for the mortgage for $95,000, then add the $10,000 what they're behind, that's $105,000. That's what you could buy that property for. Okay? Now, doing all the repairs on this, you're going to be all in for $125,000, and then you're going to be going out there and selling it for the $150,000. 99% of investors are going to look at that deal and they're going to say no deal all day long, because as soon as you go out and you get financing, as soon as you go out there and have to list onto the market, as soon as you go out there and do all this stuff, the truth of it is that if you've only got a $25,000 spread, you're not going to be making any money, onto this deal. So here's how we are going out there and taking that deal, that dog with fleas deal, a deal that nobody would do, a deal that ARV's 150, the mortgage is 95, they're behind 10,000 in payments, it needs 20,000 in repairs. So you could buy this thing for 105, and then if you were to put the 20,000 in repairs into this thing, you're going to be in it for 125, and then go sell it for 150. How do you take that and turn that as a deal? Here's exactly what we're doing. So what we're doing is we're actually, on these deals, we're leaving the mortgage in place. Okay? So what we're doing is we're just bringing the mortgage current. So if you could go out there and keep that mortgage in place. Now, this is not a deal. No investor is going to go out there and touch this deal. So when a motivated seller comes to you with something like this, you're going to have absolutely no competition. None. Because no investor is going to go out there and touch this thing. So what you do is you leave the mortgage in place. You take this subject to the existing mortgage. So you're going to do a sub 2 on this deal. So now what you're going to do is you're going to catch this whole thing up with that $10,000. So you're going to go and put this under contract subject to. You're going to take $10,000 and catch this mortgage up. So now out of your pocket, you've got $10,000 out. So then what you do is you go out there and you put your $20,000 in repair. So now you've got $30,000 out on that deal. So now you've only got this. You caught the $10,000 up. You paid the $20,000 in back. So now you're all into this thing for 30 grand. But see, now look at this from a cash on cash perspective. Look at this. The first scenario is not a deal. But if you were to go and only have $30,000 out, and then when you go to sell this thing, all of this plays into, effect right here. But the difference is that you kept the mortgage in place. So now what you can do is by having $30,000 out onto this specific deal, what you can do is go and sell this thing for the 150 number. Now, that's not going to be a true $25,000 in profit. It's not going to be that, right? But it's probably going to be, what, $15,000, $18,000 once you pay maybe a lender for the $30,000, or maybe you go out there and you sell it with a realtor or whatever, and you got some fees. You're still going to make $15,000, $16,000 onto that deal. So what you do is now you've got $30,000 out by taking this thing subject to bring in $15,000, $18,000 in profit. So guys, we are working on a ton of these things. I mean, 613 calls, or 613 leads that we're working right now. 81 called in over the past 20 days. We've already got a contract doing this, and we have a lot more into the work. So what I would tell you guys, go and look at this. Target these leads. Go and get a list of pre-foreclosures at adamdata.com. Do that. Put them through a process. Bring in calls and take these leads that absolutely no investor is going to go out there and touch. Catch up the mortgage. Do whatever you need in repairs. Go and take these things subject to, and bam, my friends, you have yourself a slamming deal. Now it just came down to the fact of, well, how many deals like this can I go out there and do? When most investors are passing on these things, guys, you should be doing these things all day long, and that's exactly what we're doing with these things. So guys, what I need you to do is comment below. Let me know, do you want to know more? Because I'm getting ready to tell you more. I'm getting ready to tell you more with this thing. So check this out. There's another deal that we're working right now, and this is going to be a little bit crazy, but here's another deal that we're working right now. It has an ARV, okay, of $330,000, okay? This is a very, very similar deal, right? So ARV $330,000. Mortgage on this deal is $228,000. They're behind $11K onto this deal. Okay? So in reality, these people need, and they're willing to walk away with literally walk away with this thing. Okay? So they're willing to walk away to buy this property for $239,000. And then go out there and go out there and sell this thing for $330,000. So watch this. So this is a deal as is, right? This right here is a deal as is. So if you go buy this thing for the $239,000 number, and let's say that and this is a wholesale deal. Both of these, well, this is a wholesale deal right here. But if you go and buy this thing for the $239,000 number, when you go out there and get lending and everything else, you're going to go out there and sell this thing for, a retail buyer is going to be your buyer, right? A retail buyer is absolutely going to be your buyer onto this thing. So you need to think about this and structure right straight from the upfront. This entire way throughout absolutely everything. ARV's $330,000, mortgages $228,000, behind $11,000. So you could buy this thing for $239,000, go out there and put this thing up onto the market, all this stuff, and make probably $40,000 onto this deal. This scenario could come into play to make this even a sweeter deal. If this seller is willing to go out there and just walk away from this thing, just literally walk away from it for the $239,000 number, what if you did the same strategy that you did on this one? What if you went out there and you caught this thing back up because the seller's really, really worried about that? You caught this thing back up for $11,000. You took this thing subject to the existing mortgage. You literally just went through and sold this thing right there onto the MLS or whatever. So now, instead of bringing $239,000 to the closing side of this and having all that risk and getting a loan like that and all that stuff, why don't you go out there and take this thing, $11,000, subject to, so now, and put money into their pocket. So this deal that we're working right now, we're actually buying this thing for $245,000. And the reason is because we want to put cash into their pocket to make it enticing for them to go out there and sell this thing to us. So we're bringing this thing current with $11,000. We're putting $6,000 right there into their pocket, which they love. Now we have this property subject to the existing mortgage. So now we go out there and sell this thing. Now here's going to be the interesting part about a deal like that. Your end buyer on that big fat ass deal right here, that big fat deal, your end buyer is going to be a retail buyer. And they're also going to be going out there and getting a conventional loan on this thing. So here's the problem. If you go out there and put this thing under contract for the $245,000 number, if you do that, and then you go and take control of this thing, and there shows a transfer that you bought this thing for $245,000, when you go and sell this to your end buyer that's going to get a conventional loan where there's no seasoning on, and you go and try to sell this thing for $300 or $330, do you think that that loan officer is going to ask you questions about, hey, what did you do to this house? Even though that there's no, seasoning or anything on it, do you think that they're going to ask you questions about that? Put that into the comments below. Do you think that loan officer, that conventional loan officer, do you think that they're going to go out there and ask you questions about what you did to that property to make it go from $245 to $330? Of course they are. So the thing of it is that, guys, you found a great, phenomenal deal. It was another foreclosure deal. You found a great deal. So how do you go out there and structure a deal like that to where you're not answering any questions from the realtor saying, well, you just bought this for $245. What'd you do? Now, you just did this, and now you're going to be selling this thing for $330? I don't think so. We'll give you, instead of $330, we'll give you like $265. Will you take that? Instead of dealing with that from the realtors, and instead of going out there and dealing with that same, problem from the mortgage brokers, when it gets to the to that side of it, guys, one thing that you can do, and I'm just going to say this, that we are doing a lot, is why don't you go out there and when you do that subject to, why don't you go out there and put that property into a trust, name it something tied to the seller and the address, so that when this thing transfers on title, you literally are not going to answer any questions. So when the realtors go out there and look at this thing on title, guess what they're going to see? That the owner of record that went out there and moved it to a trust, and it's the same last name, same address onto that property, or onto the title, onto this thing. So the realtor, they're not going to ask a question. And when this thing goes straight to the loan officer getting a conventional loan, they're not going to go out there and ask any questions because they don't see the difference. They don't know that you own that trust. So guys, here's what you should be doing. Look at your deals from a totally different lens. If you guys want more information on how to do more deals just like this, I want you to send me a text message to 937-421-8090. If you want to learn more about how to do deals like that and go in more depth, shoot me a text. 937-421-8090. Shoot me a text, and we will take and I'll show you guys exactly You guys exactly how we are going out there and working 2,170 leads right now. We have out 100 pieces of direct mail. We have brought in a total of 381 calls over the past 20 days, and I'll show you exactly how we do this. We'll get onto a private webinar within the next week, and I going to get onto a private webinar with just this group, and we're going to work on absolutely exploding your guys' business for 2020. Doing what others would consider to be impossible, working more leads than anybody into your area, having the entire thing automated, and structuring your deals a lot better to where you are. Shoot me a text, 937-421-8090, guys, and I will see you, hopefully, in a private room where we're going to go all out with how to explode your business, exactly how we're doing it. Guys, I'll see you soon.